Initial startup procedure for a small, medium, or large manual leakage compensation purge gas inlet kit with the CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator. The following procedure should be performed when initially starting up a purge pressurization system that is using a manual leakage compensation purge gas inlet kit. When used in combination with a CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator, you will be shown how to calculate dilution time for an enclosure with no source of release. Step 1. Make sure the area surrounding the enclosure in which the manual leakage compensation purge gas inlet kit and CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator are to be installed is known to be non-hazardous. Step 2. After it has been assured that the area surrounding the enclosure is known to be non-hazardous, open the enclosure door. Step 3. After opening the enclosure door, install both the manual leakage compensation purge gas inlet kit and a CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator per installation instructions located in their respective manuals. Step 4. After both units have been installed and the enclosure door is still open, verify that purge gas is being supplied to the enclosure. Rotate the shutoff valve to the on position. Then pull the regulator's pressure control knob upwards to unlock it. Next, turn the regulator's pressure control knob clockwise to raise the pressure and increase purge gas flow to the enclosure. Step 5. After purge gas supply to the enclosure has been verified, turn off the purge gas by turning the regulator's pressure control knob counterclockwise. Step 6. With purge gas supply pressure to the enclosure turned off, rotate the shutoff valve to the off position. Step 7. With the shutoff valve in the off position, close the leakage compensation valve on top of the manual leakage compensation purge gas inlet kit manifold block by turning it with a 1/8 inch sized Allen head wrench clockwise until it is completely seated. Step 8. After assuring that the leakage compensation valve is completely shut off, close and latch the enclosure door. Step 9. With the enclosure door closed and properly latched, apply power to the CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator. Warning: do not turn on power to electrical equipment located in the enclosure for which the CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator will be monitoring purge pressure unless the area has been properly tested and is known not to contain explosive materials. Step 10. With power applied to the CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator, start increasing purge gas dilution pressure by turning the regulator's pressure knob clockwise. The gauge will indicate an increase in pressure. Continue turning until the desired dilution pressure is reached. The pressure shown on the gauge will later be used as one of the variables in Purge Solutions' Purge Dilution Calculator. Only use the pressure recorded when the manual leakage compensation purge gas inlet kit shutoff valve is in the off position to calculate the dilution time required before power can be connected to the electronics within the enclosure. Step 11. With power applied to the CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator and dilution pressure set, open the leakage compensation valve by turning counterclockwise until the CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator's green LED illuminates. Step 12. With the CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator's green LED illuminated, use the jam nut to lock the leakage compensation valve in place on top of the manual leakage compensation purge gas inlet kit manifold block to maintain leakage compensation volume setting. Step 13. Variables required for Purge Solutions Purge Dilution Time Calculator are as follows. First, take notice that you are using a purge gas inlet kit that is appropriate for a manual leakage compensation application. Second, note which size purge gas inlet kit is being used, small, medium, or large. Third, determine your preferred units of measurement, English or metric. Next, determine the purge gas supply pressure that is being delivered to the purge gas inlet kit regulator. Take note of the pressure reading on the purge gas inlet kit gauge with the purge gas inlet kit shutoff valve in the off position. Finally, determine the height, depth, and width of the enclosure. Step 14. With leakage compensation purge gas being supplied to the enclosure and CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator's green LED illuminated, start the dilution time cycle by turning the shutoff valve to the on position. Step 15. After a dilution time has been established, the dilution time, the manual leakage compensation purge gas inlet kit pressure gauge setting, and the purge gas supply pressure should all be recorded for use during any future maintenance and/or service of the purge enclosure. Note: if you are using one of Purge Solutions' manual leakage compensation purge gas inlet kits to supply purge gas to an enclosure with a CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator, refer to Purge Solutions' website to use dilution time software to calculate dilution time for your size enclosure. This dilution software can only be used if you are using a Purge Solutions purge gas inlet kit, as the dilution time software calculations are based on empirical tests performed with Purge Solutions purge gas inlet kits and proprietary vents. Note: the dilution time cycle must be long enough to ensure that at least 5 times the volume of free space in the enclosure of purge protective gas is exchanged before power can be manually applied to the electrical equipment inside the purged enclosure. Note: the dilution time cycle can be reduced by increasing the purge gas pressure that is supplied into the enclosure through the purge gas inlet kit. To make this change, repeat the foregoing procedure starting with step 10. Use the new pressure shown on the purge gas inlet kit gauge to calculate a lower dilution time. Repeat this process until an appropriate dilution time is reached. Step 16. After the dilution time has elapsed, turn the shutoff valve to the off position. This will allow only enough purge gas volume into the now protected enclosure to maintain a pressure within the enclosure above what is required. Step 17. With dilution variables set, push the regulator's pressure control knob down to lock it. Step 18. After dilution time has elapsed, and the CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator's green LED is still illuminated, power can then be connected to the electrical equipment within the now protected enclosure. Warning: the number of exchanged volumes may be higher in some situations. If purge pressure becomes less than 0.2 inches H2O or 0.5 millibars, the CYCLOPS Y or Z purge indicator does not disconnect power to the electrical equipment within the enclosure it has been monitoring. It will only alarm. Failure to heed the following information may lead to injury of personnel or equipment damage. Before initially starting the equipment, Electrical power wiring must be checked for correct size and routing. Refer to all ATEX, CEC, IECEX, or NEC/NFPA certificates for any special conditions of use. If an X appears after the certificate number, it indicates that the equipment or protective system is subject to special conditions for safe use specified in the schedule of the certificate.